Hello students, my name is Mr. Harshal Nezkar and we are studying the subject of basic human rights and this is lecture number 22. In the last lecture, we have studied the concept of unemployment, then we studied the presence of unemployment in our country, and then we studied these causes and effects of that particular unemployment, and we also studied the possible solutions to control the issue of unemployment. All right, so in this lecture we are going to study the government schemes that are being run nowadays to control this issue of unemployment. All right, so let's start lecture with the first government scheme that is being run, uh, and the scheme is called Sampurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana. This short form is SGRY. So it was launched on 25th September 2001 by merging the ongoing schemes of Employment Assurance Scheme and Jawahar Gramin Samriddhi Yojana. All right. The program was implemented through the Panchayati Raj institutions. The objective was to provide the additional wage employment and food security along with creation of durable community assets in rural areas. The annual outlay was the 10,000 crores, which included the 50 lakh tons on food grains. The cash component shared between the center and states was in the ratio of 75-25. That means the 75% of this particular uh, cost was bared by the central government and 25% of the share was bared by the state government. The minimum wages paid to the workers was through a mix of minimum 5 kilograms of food grains and at least 25% of wages in cash. The program was or is being implemented by the district panchayats, immediate panchayats, and gram panchayats. That is the panchayati raj we are having right now. The resources are allocated in the 20%, 30%, and 30% ratio. That means the 20% resources were allocated to the district panchayat, then 30% was allocated to the immediate panchayats, and remaining 50% is allocated to the gram panchayat. The employment of contractors or the middlemen are not permitted under this particular scheme. However, this scheme was subsumed in the scheme of NREGA, which has been initiated since the 2nd of February 2006. That means in 2006, it was merged with the scheme of NREGA that we will going to see in the next slide. So the government has a key role to play in a employment generation by the in the country. In fact, it must preserve to increase the employment levels in the country. In the light of this, government in the past have acted to deal with unemployment in India through the scheme of that is SGRY, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is called as the NREGA, was passed in year of 2005 and it was given the name of our Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi. The Manrega, it seeks to provide 100 days of guaranteed wage employment to rural households who are willing to perform unskilled natural work. It makes the special provisions for women and for the distance within which the job must be available to the job seekers for convenience. So basically it is for the rural households. All right, and it focuses on the women empowerment also. The state and central governments over the years have played a key role in enacting other social security programs, providing unemployment allowances, and conducting the training programs and encouraging the on the job training to absorb more skilled labor into the jobs. The government has also strived to provide direct employment in government departments and offices at various positions and levels. It also helps in indirect employment through the production of goods and services that aid the ability of private sector to invite more job applications and create more opportunities. One of the main allied objectives of these policy programs is the idea of poverty elevation with other emphasis on health, nutrition, a standard of living, education, road building, infrastructure, and development of rural areas. So that was the scheme, or that is the scheme being run by the state and central government, and it basically focuses on the development of rural areas. All right. So moving on, next is the scheme of Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana, that is the SGSY. The SGSY scheme is operative from 1st of April 1999 in rural areas of our country. So the SGSY is holistic scheme covering all aspects of self-employment, such as organization of the poor into self-help groups, that is the SHGs, trainings, credit, technologies, infrastructure, and marketing also. These schemes will be funded by the financial institutions, Panchayati Raj institutions, district rural development agencies, the non-government organizations like NGOs, technical institutions in the district, and it will be involved in the process of planning, implementation, and monitoring of the scheme. The SSGs, that is the self-help groups, after the first grading are provided with the revolving fund of 50,000 for first linkages. That is the first, after first grading, the particular SSGs are provided with the fund of 50,000 rupees. All right. And also with the bank loan of 50,000 and 10,000 as the subsidy. Then 1 lakh rupees for the second linkages and 1,50,000 rupees for the third and subsequent linkages. After the second grading, the successful groups, that is the successful SSGs, are provided with the economic assistance, that is the maximum eligible subsidy being 50% of the project cost with the ceiling of 1.25 lakhs. That means if suppose a self-help group, if it becomes successful in his particular work after the third grading, then it will be given a eligible subsidy of 50% of the total project cost, of which the maximum limit is 1.25 lakhs. All right. So that is the Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana. All right. And we have an example of Power Laundry that is being run in the Tanjavur district by the a group of women, that is one of the self-help groups. All right. And they have been funded with the all of whatever the amount we have studied right now. All right. So that was the SGSY scheme, and particularly these three schemes that we have studied, these are for the rural development only. All right. So next is the most important scheme that is being run, and which is a very important scheme, that is the run by the corporation that is founded by the government, that is National Skill Development Corporation. So the NSDC, it is a non profit public limited company which was incorporated on 31st of July 2008. The NSDC is a unique model created with a well thought through underlying philosophy based on the following pillars. The pillars of NSDC are: first one is the to create, that means the proactively catalyze the creation of large quality vocational training institutions. So the first pillar of NSDC is to create the quality vocational training institutions. The second pillar is the funding. That is the reduce the risk by providing patient capital, including the grants and equity. So second is the funding from the NGOs or the from the government also. The third one is the to enable. That means the creation and sustainability of support systems required for skill development, which also includes the industry-led sector skill councils. All right, so the NSDC operates through partnerships with multiple stakeholders in catalyzing and evolving the skilling ecosystem. So basically, NSDC it provides the vocational training, and after that training programs, it will give the guarantee of jobs. All right, so the NSDC it operates through the partnerships of as we have seen the multiple stakeholders, like first one is the private sector. All right, the private sector, that means the areas of partnerships, it includes awareness of buildings, capacity creation, loan financing, creation and operation of sector skills councils, assessment leading to certification, employment generation, corporate social responsibility, world skills competition, and participation in special initiatives like Udan, focused on the state of Jammu Kashmir only. All right. So that was the private sector contribution in the NSDC. Then we will see the international engagement for partnerships. The international engagements are like investments, technical assistance, then transnational standards, overseas jobs, and other areas. That is the international engagement. Then we will see the partnership of central ministries or the engagement of central ministries. That is the participation in flagship programs like Make in India, Swachh Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Smart City Digital India, Namami Ganga, and among many others programs. All right, so that was the role of central ministry. Then we'll see the role of state government. The role of state government in NSDC is to develop the programs and schemes aligning to the uh, NSQF programs and the capacity building, the operationalization of program capacity building efforts among the other programs that are being run by the central government also. All right, so that was the role of state government or the partnership of state government. Then we will see the university and school systems that are present in our country, and the role of that particular uh, sector in the NSDC is to vocationalize of education through the specific training programs, evolution of credit framework, entrepreneur development, etc. So that was the role of university to vocationalize the education through the quality training programs, and also development of the entrepreneur schemes. All right. Then we have the non-profit organization, that is the NGOs, and their role is to provide the capacity buildings of marginalized and special groups, then development of livelihood, self-employment, and entrepreneurship programs. So they need to focus on these particular issues. Then there is a role of innovation centers also. It is to support early stage social entrepreneurs working on innovative business models to address the gaps in skilling ecosystem, including programs for persons with disability. So basically the role of innovation centers by the uh, public sector companies. All right, so that was to basically support the early stage social entrepreneurs working in those innovation centers also. All right, so that was the particular partnerships of these sectors that are available in our country. Then we will see the achievements that are being achieved by the NSDC programs. All right, so basically NSDC has over 5.2 million students right now trained after the starting of or the implementation of this program. Then 235 private sector partnerships for training and capacity building, and each those private sector, they train at least 50,000 persons over the 10-year period. Then we have the 38 sectors skill councils that are approved in services, manufacturing, agriculture, and allied services and informal sectors. The sectors include 19 of 20 high priority sectors identified by the government, and 25 of the sectors under the Make in India initiative. All right. Then the 1386 qualification packages with 6744 unique national occupational standards, that is the NOAS. These have been validated by over 1,000 private sector companies. Also, we have vocational training introduced in 10 states covering 2,400 plus schools, then two boards benefiting over 2.5 lakh students. The curriculum based on national occupancy standards and SSC certifications. Also, it is also present. The NSDC is working with 21 university community colleges under this UGC or AICTE for alignment of successful implementation of NSDC programs, of which our institute, that is SIT-COE, it is also a part of NSDC programs also. All right. So in the next slide, we will understand basically the initiative of PMKVY, that is the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, that is being run under this particular NSDC corporation, which is means the PMKVY is the flagship scheme of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, that is MSDE, and it is implemented by National Skill Development Corporation. So basically, this PMKVY, it implements these particular partnership programs with all other the universities or institutes that are present in our country, and our institute, it is also a part of this particular PMKVY scheme. All right. So the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, the Department of Higher Education, currently caters to over 3 crore students, and which comes to a gross enrollment ratio of 21.1 percentage, and the dropout rate at each level is in higher side. There is a large requirement of skilled persons in the core engineering, and it is possible to train the dropouts from the higher education system is these skills that are being provided under the scheme PMKVY. However, the traditional higher education system in the country is rigid in terms of duration. Keeping in view these national programs, the Ministry of HRD, that is Human Resource Development, it directed AICT, that is All India Council for Technical Education, to run the PMKVY scheme, and National Skill Development Center, it will be the strategic partner in implementing the PMKVY scheme. The main objective of this project is to provide skill-based training to these school or college dropout students who pursue or attain higher order skills and living in the vicinity of colleges. All right, so that is the particular objective of PMKVY scheme, that is to train the dropout students from SSC or HSC. All right, and to train them into a particular essential skills, all right, that are being identified by the government. All right, so again we will study this particular the objectives of this PMKVY scheme. The first objective is to create opportunities for all to acquire skills, especially for youth, women, and disadvantaged groups like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. Then the second objective is to promote commitment by all stakeholders to own skill development initiatives. All right, so then there is third objective is to develop a high quality skilled workforce that will help emerging employment market needs. Also, to enable effective coordination between the different ministries, the center and state and public and private providers. Right. So that was the basic objectives of the of that particular PMKVY scheme. So we studied this particular PMKVY scheme, and in our institute also we run the course of assistant electrician, which is of almost 400 hours, and it has educational criteria as only 10th class plus. All right. So that is the course we are running in our institute also under this initiative of PMKVY. All right. Right now we studied this PMKY. Let's move on to the next scheme that is being run by the government, and it is the most successful scheme right now. That is the Prime Minister's Rozgar Yojana, all right, or we can call the Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Yojana. That is the short form is PMRY. The scheme was launched on the auspicious day of 2nd of October that in of 1993, the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi all over the country. All right. The main objective of PMRY scheme was to provide easy subsidized financial assistance to educated unemployed youth for starting their own enterprises in manufacturing, business and service and trade sectors. Initially, the scheme was aimed at providing self-employment to 1 million educated unemployed youth in the country by setting up 7 lakh micro enterprises through the inducting services and business ventures over the period of 2.5 years. The scheme was a stupendous success and caught the imagination of the youth. Overwhelmed with the response and ever increasing need, the government has decided to make it a permanent scheme and framed the modalities and guidelines for its successful implementation and to fulfill the purpose for which it is designed. All right. So that is the particular PMRY scheme, or the it was basically designed for only a period of 2.5 years, but the success that it has achieved in those years, it caused the government uh, to make this particular scheme on a permanent basis. So uh, let's study the basic criteria for this particular yojana. The age criteria for this PMRY scheme is minimum 18 years and maximum 35 years. The minimum educational qualification it needs is only 8th passed. All right. Then the family income maximum 40,000 per month, including the beneficiary spouse or parents of the particular uh, candidate. Then the subsidy of this scheme is the 15% of the project cost. All right. Then the collateral not required up to the 1 lakh. All right. Then residence, permanent residence for 3 years at same location it needs. All right. So those were the criteria for this PMRY scheme. Now let's understand about this, how this particular scheme is implemented. All right. So basically, the targets are given to every state for year starting from April to the March of next year. These targets are fixed by DCSSI after carefully taking into consideration the important factors like population, unemployment, and backwardness of the areas. The targets fixed for a year would be regularly monitored and may also be revised taking into consideration the recovery of loans and performance for the year. So first of all, this particular central government it uh, identifies the targets for this particular year, and these targets are conveyed to the state government. Then the state government reallocates the state targets to all district industries centers, that is the DIC of the each district that is present in that particular state. And along with these DICs, the banks also form a part of implementing agencies for sanction of loans. The Chief General Manager RPCD of Reserve Bank of India, then he is implemented about the targets allocated to the states by central government. And the Reserve Bank of India in turn issue the necessary guidelines and funds to the lead banks that are present in the states. The lead banks of the states, they issue the necessary instructions to their respective branches of each district for the disbursement to be made in accordance with the fixed targets. The district industry center, that is DIC, along with banks being the implementing agency at the grassroots level of each district, calls for people to apply for PMRY loans. The required application forms then are made available at DIC centers with local industry promotion officers of the concerned areas as well as local bank branches. The GM DIC constitutes the task force committee and convenes the meeting to conduct the interviews of possible candidates. The members of this task force committee are the general manager, DIC, and all the financing bankers, officials of all other development agencies like SISI. The objective of this task force is to take interview of the applicants to assess their knowledge about the proposed project, the attitude, interest, and entrepreneur qualities of that particular candidate, so as to make the proposed project a success and to sincerely repay the proposed loan amount given under the PMRY scheme. The committee then selects the candidate by the process of grading marks. The task force committee selects the candidate and allocates to the bank. The selected candidate are duly intimated and directed to approach the selected bank branch for sanction of loan. With this selection process is completed. As per the DCSS SSI guidelines, for all the selected candidates under PMRY have to go under the training programs that are developed by the central government. The general manager and DICs have to provide the training to the candidates by making the necessary arrangements. They are provided with training materials, training schedules, and good faculty and convenient training centers. The candidates get familiarized with the finer points of the starting and successfully running their selective enterprises. The period of training is about 15 to 20 working days for candidates for setting up the industry sector and 7 to 10 working days for business or service sector. All right, so that was a training program arranged by the central government. Then the DCSSI has devised a procedure to review on and monitor the progress of PMRY scheme. And under this monitoring committee, every district has to furnish the information on sanctions, disbursement, training, grounding, and recovery of loans sanctioned. Then they have to furnish the same in prescribed format, giving monthly, quarterly, and annual progress reports to the Commissioner of Industries for preparing the same report for the state. All right, so that was the implementation of the scheme that is being run nowadays through the PMRY scheme. All right, so these were some of the schemes that are being run by the government to control this particular issue of unemployment. There are also other programs by state or central government like the National Food for Work program, setting up the SAYS, then development of irrigation facilities, employment opportunities for women, development of information technology sector, modernization of employment exchanges. Then also we have the skill development initiative schemes. All right, so with the time limit, we will not study basically these programs. the main schemes we have studied in this particular lecture, like the Sampurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana, the Manrega, Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana, then NSDC programs like PMKVY. We also studied the PMRY scheme also. All right. So these were the initiatives by government to control this unemployment issue. All right. So we'll stop here. If you have any doubt regarding any scheme that is being run by the government, you can comment down below in this section. All right. So we will stop here, and thank you for listening to the lecture. In the next lecture, we will study the particular concept of bonded labor and the rights of those particular labors also. All right, and the in the last lectures, we will study the concept of social harmony, and that will be the last lecture of this particular topic that will conclude the second topic also. All right, so thank you for listening lecture. Thank you.